Yeah, man. You said you watched the documentary,
Highest
right?
of Stakes, yeah. You saw it in theaters, right?
I saw it in theaters the second week it was out, and I saw it on demand. I want to say a week or two ago, the first day it was out. Yeah,
I
what
remember.
did you think?
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
you posted a screenshot of you bought it on Apple TV, right? Or
Technically Prime, but yeah, it
Prime.
was on
Okay,
Apple TV. It was on
right.
YouTube, but I actually watched it on Prime.
Yeah. So what did you think of it? Did you already do a stream with your review
I
or not?
I did a stream with a review when I watched it in theaters. I don't
Right.
think I did it on the second one. Well, actually, I had Crypto Kong on. We sort of talked about it towards the end of the stream, but and then today I watched our friend Somi's review, which was pretty interesting. I
Yeah,
had to agree with a lot of it.
I have
I
it
had to agree with
bookmarked.
it.
I want to watch that one.
It's
Oh,
good.
is it good? Yeah.
It was this yeah. Basically, he was. I won't ruin it for you, but he it goes up and down. It's like 25 minutes of like
Oh,
something worth watching of
right.
his review, at least. Of course, a
Okay.
lot of the stuff's worth watching, but this is a longer video. But I'm like, in the middle he says a bunch of stuff, he kind of explains, it goes on, and then at the end you're like, oh, very interesting, which is actually gave me an idea for another stream I'm going to do later on about what is going to happen with all the sacrifice money. What if what would happen if all the expectations we didn't have that
Yeah.
were sacrificed, what if something happened with that money? What could it be that's not market manipulation, none of that stuff.
Yeah.
Just like what could a company do that would promote their type of product who had a bunch of funds, that kind of thing. So anyway, it gave me that idea. But yeah, what did you think, and what was your any interesting reactions?
Well, I mean, I found it to be a little bit cringe just because it highlights that period that I don't resonate with. Richard being flamboyant and you know flexing all this stuff. So it wasn't kind of the Richard that a lot of Hexicans know, and I think for that reason, it was a little bit off-putting, and it's not something that I would really share with a lot of the onboards. Like I have some like onboards that are kind of like 1 foot in, and I think if I show them the documentary, they're gonna have
Scam,
yeah,
scammer. Oh
yeah,
God, what happened? What did I do?
yeah. So I think for the demographic of like newcomers and newbies and anyone who's like not familiar with it, it could be a compelling documentary, right? If they're just like scrolling on a streaming site and they come across it and watch it, I think they'll find it very entertaining. But I think for like true Hexicans, at least for I'm not speaking for everybody, but for me, I don't think it was like the best period, right? Where he went on this whole, buying spree and flexing spree and you know that
That's a great take, man. That I
caught all
like.
the attention.
I think if I were to synthesize what you're saying, like it's
Mhm.
like that period could be. I'm glad we captured that for all the people who aren't already in, because it's
Right.
very exciting, entertaining, and could help people on board. Had they not be worried about the money they put in already, that is in the twerker guy's hands, that sort of thing,
Right.
right? Like the people already in, maybe they're not going to enjoy it as much, or it's not going to make them feel more comfortable about their investment for whatever reasons they believe. I mean, for
Mhm.
me, it didn't obviously change anything. A lot of us
Right.
didn't. But for no coiners,
Yeah.
it's like, hey, this guy's fun. I wonder what's going to
Yeah.
happen next. Hex.com. Let me go there.
I think it did leave me with a lot of like FOMO impressions, just because like hearing Richard and hearing his like obviously belief that this is going to stand the test of time, and we're here obviously for forever because the smart contract can be turned off. It did give me FOMO, um, but I could just see it being a little bit off-putting, especially like some of the girls I know, like some of the girls I've onboarded or girls like I could onboard. I think they would find it very cringe. So I think for guys, like I think it's cool and interesting, but I think the girls I know would be off put by it. So I don't plan to share with them. But yeah.
I mean, that's a fair perspective. I gotta say, when I talked about it with Kong, I was telling him that I watched it on demand with a friend of mine who is a no coiner and who didn't know anything about Richard or Hex or anything before. One of the few friends who I hadn't had a conversation with it about really to any extent. And I was like, hey man, I want your honest feedback. Like don't, you're not gonna hurt my feelings, nothing like that. Like, what did you think? And I think he sort of took it as like me trying to onboard him, but I was like, no, man, you do not need to get into crypto. Like nobody needs to get into crypto. Like everyone has, like they have their own risk profile and their own, different people treat different ways. Some people can't handle the pressure and anxiety, all this stuff. I totally get it. Crypto is not for everyone. So this is not about me trying to get you into crypto. This is just about me. Hey, this is a guy I followed for a long time. I like him. I like his products. And, I like the community. And this is just a movie about a thing that happened, an experience. It's something that's going on, and it happens to do with crypto and all these interesting things. And funny enough, the thing that he brought up that I didn't expect was he talked about the OA. Like, of all the scenes of everything in there,
right,
the OA and having a part of the supply, triggered his thinking about it. And it wasn't like this big negative. He wasn't like, oh, I wouldn't do it because of that.
right.
His response was kind of like,
yeah.
Well, kind of like, kind of wondering why, and I kind of explain, okay, well, centralization of supply is price, like all these companies, his thing was, I think, what did he question? He was like something about like how like he was worried about the decentralization part. And then I'm like, okay, well, Satoshi's got 1 million coins, all these responses you could have from it. But that is something that struck him. And that's what I thought was interesting from a person who's never heard of the guy, never heard of the project, not into crypto. They were thinking about, well, I thought this stuff was decentralized. And I'm like, well, you don't know much about crypto. So
Well, maybe I guess what stood out to him was Richard's comparison to like Fortune 500 companies and how like a lot of those, founders still hold a majority stake. So there's nothing bad about it.
He did enjoy the 401k line as well, the famous one in the movie. And it was like, oh, well, yeah, everything's Ponzi, isn't it? That kind of thing. So I think if nothing else, it kind of gave him an idea of like, there's something more here. There's something deeper. There's not this like utopian dream of just peer-to-peer cash going on, at least right now in the capitalism part of crypto, which is where the industry is booming. I mean, again, pragmatic libertarian. I know your views as well. We love that stuff. We love, freedom to transact with people, and that's what we want. But the part that is being displayed and what most people are in crypto for isn't that. It's for, hey, this stuff will make me rich. Let me buy my freedom, which is totally, got its merits as well.
Yeah, that kind of mindset gets most people wrecked, though, right? That kind of mindset is what keeps people chasing, and yeah, so.
Well, everyone's going to get wrecked. It's just a matter of not being that person. How much do you know to get you off of that line where it's going to affect you and your decisions? Like that's been the hardest learning curve in crypto. Well, not for me, but when I see people who come in here for gambling, they come in here for, I need to make money right now, that kind of thing, and they don't understand delayed gratification or all the other mental models and stuff that the community was built from. And then all the other, various narratives and stuff that happen. I don't know, a lot of people come in and they really have this ideal of, I'm going to do something great. I can do this. I have the good information. And then, I don't know, they get maybe the bear market, the red candles, they just get bored. I don't know what it is. And they turn into something else than they started with, which is, I don't know, it appears less healthy, I guess.
Well, I'll tell you a fun fact. I think that's specific to probably the younger people. As you know, like on my website, stakewealth.com, I do these free consults. And through this bear market, there hasn't been as much activity as obviously the bull, but there's still been people like booking times and wanting to talk to me. And as before, if you recall, I told you the stat that majority of the people I speak to are like 60 and older. So it's usually like the older folks that just want to have like a more kind of personal one-on-one and are want to talk about staking and stuff. And through the bear market, that's continued to be the case. And those people are, as excited about HEX as they were during the bull market. So that's the interesting part. That I think what you're saying is more specific to young people. I think the people that have, been around for much longer and have seen the boom and busts still trust Richard's character. It seems like that's the common theme across the people that I talk to, that they know the real Richard from the live streams from like 2020, 2021. And they know that any FUD is just temporary. So they're still big believers.
That's interesting how is that just a sign of, maybe it's just a sign of like people who not, I don't even want to go down the older and wiser path. It's just kind of like, hey, this thing isn't what I'm gambling on today. Like I'm here. I believe in this. I'm going to make my decision and stick with it.
And they're the longest stakers. That's the biggest. If you want to know the most significant takeaway from me talking to people is the older people are the longest stakers. They're in
Wow.
it for actually 15 years, and they're like, there's the one guy I talked to. He's like 80 something, but he's like really like sharp. Um, and he's got the longest stakes. And he's like, yeah, every
Wow.
paycheck I just put a little bit aside and stake it 5, 5, 5, 5.
Wow.
So
That's cool.
yeah,
Like
it's really
that.
cool.
I'm glad we have people in the community who we have one of everyone, man. We have like people who, not just old and young and
Right.
dopamine now and not dopamine now. It's kind of like, yeah, go ahead.
No, it's a good that the demographics are very like wide, right? It's not just a certain subset of people chasing the pump, like Dogecoin or whatever, but it's like mature people, professionals of all types of lower class, middle class, upper class, um, are resonating with Richard's message. So
What is yeah, on that too? A lot of people, it sounds like, and consults and otherwise. What is it that you tell them that they resonate with so much?
because as we just talked about, there's so many themes in Hex, but I think it's the savings aspect, the delayed gratification aspect, that even if you're older, like that there's no get rich, like at that point especially, like you've had the lessons to know that there's no get rich quick scheme. So you believe a lot into, like, they're big believers in you know a lot of what Richard preaches, and obviously that's so many things from security to the self custody, um, that they just kind of believe with his worldview, and they want to be part of Hex. I think primarily for the kind of savings account delayed gratification aspect of it.
It is a beautiful thing. Like you can really get sucked down a hole of, I need this thing to go up because I put money into it. If
Right.
you just zoom out and be like, this thing is incredible that it even exists, and exists in a way that anyone can go copy it and fail and all this stuff, but exists in a way that is built to designed to last forever, and really it's designed to attract people who want to play these healthy games and really want to get something more. So
Yeah.
that's the cool thing about it.
So yeah, the movie. Hopefully more people see it. I mean, judging by the Highest of Stakes Twitter account, they're still teasing that there's more to come. So some people were like disappointed that they still can't watch it in their market. They have to pay for a stream. But it seems to me like this is just another step in their distribution, and that there's more to come. So, right? Is
It'll
that what
come.
you're hearing too? Or-
I mean, every time I've talked to anyone involved in it, they either hint or not hint that, or they tickle my instinct that they've got so much content and so much was not in there already.
Oh, of course.
Why wouldn't there be more? Like that's what I come away with talking to people, involved in it otherwise.
I'd love to have a little mini series because yeah, they have so much footage. Like I was surprised with like the movie was like a little short splice of a lot of the teasers that we got.
Yeah.
And
Every
maybe
picture in here, like a lot, like some
yeah,
of these was not in it. They're just not
yeah,
in it. Not even forget the behind the scenes stuff, like just the pictures of not behind the scenes stuff. Like they're just, I don't remember some of this stuff being in there.
yeah,
So there's got to be more.
yeah. Well, but I mean more so that it's probably going to have more distribution. It's going to eventually be available to watch for free, things like that. So like in terms of like
Yeah.
onboarding, in terms of it like reaching the masses, I think they still have more under their sleeve. So people should still have things to look forward to.